Okay. So do you think that in today's American church
Mm-hmm.
that after all of the stuff that we've talked about so far
Uh-huh.
with the women's,
Okay.
that women are treated correctly by the men in today's church and by Christian men?
Okay. And we're talking about just in America, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it just really varies.
Okay.
So I don't think I can give like a yes or no answer to that question.
Okay.
And so I think it really depends on the churches. I do think most churches recognize women's value and importance.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to have some kind of like old school fundamentalist churches that don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I think in large, I think most churches recognize women's value and importance, both as individuals and in the life of the church.
Okay.
That they actually have they're an important integral part of the life of the church.
Mm-hmm.
That women's voice is important. And I think maybe that's one of the things that's gotten better and better, is because I think for too long it was just kind of like the men would make all the decisions without women's voices and input. And I think that's gotten better, where you've got more women having input into, or having a place for their voice to be shared as decisions are made in the church. And so I think that's gotten a lot better. And a lot of churches, honestly, are really in debt to the role that women play in the life of the church.
What do you mean?
Because there's so many women that are actively involved in church.
Okay.
That so much of church really has been carried by women.
So like a pastor and then just a bunch of women.
Well, I mean, like if you look at the demographics,
A pastor who's a man.
Right. See our previous episode. And so, but if you look at the demographics of the number of males versus the number of females that are actively involved in church, I think the number of females is far higher.
Okay.
And so because
all the dudes are at work.
I don't think it's just because the dudes are at work.
Okay.
I think also you have women who tend to you have women that are wanting to worship God, be in fellowship with other believers, take their faith in Christ seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think still we have men that don't do that. Again, this is more of a generality speaking, but I think that's why we have more women regularly in church than men. It's not just because men are working, because women are working now too.
So you think women are better Christians?
I do think that there's a larger percentage of women that take their faith seriously than men.
So you really love women. Okay.
Man, I've really turned this thing around.
180'd on this one. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like if you go to any church for the most part and just scan a Sunday morning, you're gonna see a lot more women there than you are men. You just will.
I think just saying that will get more men in church.
I think men need to get their butts to church. I do think that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But and it does it, and I will say this. It actually does break my heart, the number of women who go to church without their husbands.
Okay.
That women and their kids go to church and the men show up occasionally at best. And that does break my heart for those women that are wanting to be involved in church, raise their kids in church, and yet their husbands are not interested. Either they're not interested in the things of God, or they're not interested in church, or whatever it may be. That does break my heart for those women.
So women are better Christians than men.
I'm not saying that women are just better Christians than men. I am saying there's a larger percentage of women that are actively pursuing Jesus and actively involved in church.
Well, then women should have no problem with church. Except for all those male pastors.
Yeah, a bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just a jerk.
Yeah. Abortion.
Okay.